everybody. Welcome to Pink Shade. You guys, this is a Pop and Bravo bonus episode. Bonus episode. I'm so excited. I have Malaysia here from Sold on SLC. So happy to meet
Hello.
you.
Hi, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
You look so beautiful. Is your hair darker than it was when we saw you on the show?
It actually is. I've gone back down to my roots and I'm
Uh-huh.
not in Utah currently. I'm in New York. So even
Ooh,
more fun.
that is fun. Well, hopefully you're doing something fun there regarding the show.
Yep, you guys will just have to wait and see. You'll know soon
Wait
though.
and see. Wait and see. Okay, good, good. Well, we've been covering this over on our Pink Shade Prime, which is like Patreon, Supercast, Apple subscriptions. And I put out as a bonus episode a few weeks ago, the first episode coverage of it, because we're just like, we really want people to be watching. And a lot of other Bravo podcasters are kind of jumping in and covering it because this show is really good.
Thank you so much. I am so happy to hear that. I feel like we put so much time and effort, especially as real estate agents, to just to make something like this to this degree. And it required a lot more of our time than I had even initially anticipated.
Mm.
So
Did you guys shoot this for a year? Because they talk a lot about last year and then they show clips and you're like, did
hmm.
they recreate that or did they shoot this for a year?
Yeah. So I actually love that you asked me this question because there are speculation like how does this make sense? We actually shot the pilot about a year ago. So
Okay.
that was real, real scenarios that you saw that they came back to actually. So that's how you see a year ago. So this has been in the works for a year and a half. No, like maybe 2 years. So
Yeah.
what you see actually happened, but it was shot during the pilot. So those are the flashbacks that you're actually seeing.
Okay. Well, I was like, well, they must have because you do see in the flashbacks, they do have different hair or whatever, and they're not, yeah. But let's
That's
talk
always
about
a
you.
dead giveaway, the hair.
There. Or sometimes they'll be like on our shows that we cover, sometimes they'll have like the nails will be different, but it's supposed to be the same scene. We're like, we're
Mm-hmm.
eyeballing those
I
different nails.
caught it.
All right, now tell me about you because on the show you talked about you met your husband very early, you had kids very early, and then was in the NFL. So kind of give me the background on you.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Southern California, and so was my husband. We actually met in Northern California through his grandma and my uncle. We met
Mm.
at church, at the LDS church during church on Sunday. And we met maybe when we were about 10 and 11. And then when we got
Oh.
older, I know we were really young. And I always thought he was like the cute, little school kid crush. And then we got older. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just hop on MySpace and see if I find the cute kid. And so I did. We found each other. We reconnected. We started dating in high school. We were high school sweethearts. We didn't go to the same school. He actually went to a Christian school called Oaks Christian. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that in California.
Mm-mm.
Southern California. And we didn't go to the same high school, but then we dated our sophomore, junior, and senior year. And yeah, we had a lot of fun and we actually ended up getting pregnant. I was my first year in college and he was 18, I was 19. And during that time though, he had a lot of football scholarships coming in because he played football.
Mhm.
And so ultimately BYU was always on top of mind for him, but then, throw in baby out of wedlock and a school like BYU, it kind of threw us a little curveball. But it was young love. We were so in love and we knew we wanted to get married when we went out to college. And
Yeah.
it just happened a little sooner and it worked out. BYU still allowed him to go. We had an additional child while we were there. And so I had a child at 19, 21, 24, and 25. 25 with
And
4 kids.
oh, I wasn't even married till I was 32. I can't even imagine.
Oh, yeah. And so actually we had our 2 boys during BYU and then we moved to Arizona because he played for the Arizona Cardinals in the NFL. And then we had our 2 girls while there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you have two boys and two girls.
Yes. Mm-hmm. My
You know,
oldest, who I basically am growing up with, is now 14.
I can't even believe that. That is crazy. Now, does your husband, is he still in the football industry now or he's like retired and
Okay, so somewhat. So I have a 14 and 12-year-old son, and he came back. He finished his degree at BYU because, the NFL draft, he didn't have time to actually finish his degree.
yeah.
He majored in construction management, which is
Ooh.
now why he is now a builder. But he came back to BYU, finished his degree, and then he is now coaching our sons. So football, but
Oh,
to a different degree.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want to talk to you about this idea of Mormons 2.0. Now, did your husband grow up Mormon or he grew up just like Baptist or something?
Yes, he grew up Mormon actually as well. We
He
both
did.
did.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you're Mormon 2.0, which we hear a lot about because there's a lot of shows centered in Salt Lake City right now. We've got, of course, we've got the Mom Talk, and then we have Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. They're firing on all cylinders, best show on Bravo right now. And you've talked a lot about your Mormon 2.0, like you're fun, you like to drink, but you're still like going to church. My
Hmm.
main question for you about this is the need for perfection because we hear about it a lot. And I think Heather Gay said on Real Housewives that she knows Beauty Lab and Laser will always thrive because Mormons strive to be perfect. And this on this episode this week on Sold on SLC, somebody said it is the Mormon way of wanting to seem perfect. Nicole and Matt came to the baby shower. Explain this
Hmm.
to me.
Okay, so I mean, of course, I mean, vainly we want to be perfect, picture perfect for a
Yeah.
picture. That's fine. I get it, but when it comes to my mental health, especially, I don't seek perfection. There is no such thing. And I felt a lot of that pressure growing up in the church, to where I
Hmm.
was going to church because I was told to go to church. I was doing all these things in the church because I was being told that's what we were supposed to do. As
Hmm.
I've had kids, I don't want my kids to feel like they need to live life according to something else in order for them to be perfect enough or good enough. I know
Hmm.
what that did for my mental health, and I want them to have a very healthy relationship in the church, which is in order for me to have a healthy relationship in the church, because I do love my church and I've learned a lot of good principles within that. I was raised on the church, and I do want to raise my children in the church as well, which is what I'm
Hmm.
doing.
Yeah.
But in order for us to have a really healthy relationship with the church, I don't want them to seek perfection. I don't want them to live according to what others tell them how they should live. I want
Hmm.
them to be happy, and I want them to go to church because they want to go to church, not because they're being forced to or because that's what they've been shoved down their throats their entire life.
Yeah. Well, so I guess, my question is it somewhere in the Mormon culture that, yeah, you should strive for perfection? So whether that's how you look, you should strive to look perfect. Your marriage should look perfect. Your
Yeah.
children should look perfect. Because we definitely see on all these shows, like all the children always look completely perfect. There's no like
Okay.
messy kids or anything. So,
Hmm. Hmm. I will say it's not a church, a Mormon LDS thing. It's a culture thing. I feel that in
mm,
Utah, it's what the culture has become. But when it comes to the church, like, I mean, we're imperfect beings going to church. We're not going to church because
yeah.
we're perfect. But I really think that's centered around Utah specifically,
Mhm.
and what the culture has become there.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Because I know people that are Mormon that live here, and I've never kind of gotten that vibe from them. And so,
Yeah.
but we've heard this now on 3 separate shows. So I was like, I'm gonna have somebody on I can actually ask that question to.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Utah's its own beast.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, how did you get into real estate and how did you get into it, especially because you have like little kids at home?
So I was a stay-at-home mom. Um, and my husband decided, he got his license, and I figured like he's building homes, he needs a realtor, he's working with realtors. Why not me? I got to a point where my kids were all in school now, and
Mhm.
I had the time, and it always intrigued me. I already knew the back end to building custom homes and selling it. So I'm like, you know what? This actually would intertwine perfectly with my husband. And not only that, like truly, I'm like, I would be able to spend way more time with my husband,
Yeah.
so he can take me out to lunch a lot more. And so I just thought it was perfect. It was fitting. And I grew to love the process. I was there when he built his company, and, through his first few transactions. And yeah, it was just like, it just felt right.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Do you have a good side like Paige?
Oh, I do actually. And we have opposite good sides, which is why we meshed so well.
I thought you were gonna be like, no, that's ridiculous. You're like, actually.
Yeah, no, actually we do. And we're like picture perfect, two peas in a pod. She has her
That
side,
is
I have my
so
side. So
I
any
love
photo you get us
yeah.
together with, we're like, okay, okay, photo, okay, good. Let's switch.
I love anytime she comes on, she just looks right at production and goes, "This is my bad side. Can we start over?" And they're like, "No, you're supposed to
Yeah.
be naturally talking to
Mhm.
someone. Would you?" And she's like, "Oh." I
Yeah,
think
we
that's
love a woman
hilarious.
that knows what she wants.
So funny. Let me ask you this, for your real estate career, do you ever do any of these stunts like we see Kenny do or like Paige do these like funny videos? Are you getting into
Uh,
that social media part?
yes, I feel like social media is such a big influence right now, especially in the real estate realm.
Mhm.
And to be honest, I I would be down to do anything. I would probably be down depending on the listing, of course.
Mhm.
And I would jump out of a helicopter personally. So, I mean, it really is all for marketing nowadays. If you
Yeah.
can do whatever you need to do to grab the attention and put that on your listing,
Mhm.
the more eyes that you can put on this property for your clients, the better. And
Yeah.
it really is, at the end of the day, showbiz. It kind of goes,
Yeah.
real estate and reality TV kind of go hand in hand. So,
There's so many shows about, but I love it because I just love to look at real estate. And when my producer and I, Ingrid, are covering the show, we're like, okay, this house is 6.5 million and it's this, and it's just the bedrooms. And we're like, hold on, there's only 3 bedrooms, but there's 5 bathrooms. That's no, no.
yeah.
And then we get very into the whole is definitely not worth 2.1. The
Hmm.
house that was on one of the first episodes that Jen had, that was the all white, it was that very young Mormon couple
Hmm. Hmm.
that they
Hmm.
had the moldings like they have at the
Yes.
temple and all that.
Hmm.
That's been the best house so far
So in California, you have more bathrooms to bedroom ratio. In Utah, we have more bedroom to bathroom ratio because we just have way more kids.
because people just have a lot of kids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we just, pop them out.
super interesting. Okay, now let's go to the Cinco de Mayo party. Okay, sort of the creme de la creme of the whole season here. Okay, the girl in the green dress. Remind me of her name.
Kylie.
Kylie.
Yeah.
Okay,
I,
literally just girl in the green dress. That's what we call because
yeah,
her dress
I
was
know
her
that's
her dress is stunning.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, now does she have anything to do with real estate? Because like we might need to add her to the show.
Oh, I know. She actually does not. We met on a modeling shoot,
Mm,
and small world, her husband's brother and my husband played together at BYU. So our
wow.
worlds were meant to collide at some point.
Okay,
And
let's
then
talk
math
about
world eventually.
let's talk about 4 of my 5 sisters are strippers.
Hmm.
Okay, how many kids are in her family total?
So how many sisters are there? Like her
Well,
siblings?
yeah, is
Or
it
or their
6?
kids.
No, her. Is it
Oh,
6 sisters total and
so there's
4 of the
five
6 are
sisters.
strippers? There's
Yeah,
5.
so 5 sisters, 4 of them are.
So she's the only one that's
So
not a
yeah,
stripper.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It was like, is there 10 kids and then there's 6 girls and 4 are strippers and 3 are boys or the realtors? Like, what is
Yeah, what's the
happening with her
ratio here?
family?
Yeah.
That that
I
was like the tagline of everything. It's like 4 of my 5 sisters are strippers. We're like, what?
I know it may not look like it, but she's actually half Colombian. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, beautiful family.
Okay. So, okay, so we see next week, not this week that we just saw. Next week, we see that Kenny is
Hmm.
implying that Kylie and you set this whole thing up.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know what it is with Kenny and why he's like preying on my downfall, to be honest, because he really
Yeah.
is so nice to my face. And I really like Kenny. So then, while I'm going through this, and then I hear that he's actually questioning my part in this doing when I had already talked to him. I actually called all of them the following day, and for
Hmm.
him to like continue to question, but not even to me personally, for him to go around and plant that seed in everyone else's ear. I
Hmm.
thought it was really shady and honestly not professional at all.
Hmm.
Um, so I was shocked that that actually came from Kenny because I mean it's not the first time that he comes for me this season.
Well,
It's
it's just like
actually it's actually the third. So
because I remember at that other party, BJ's birthday party, you and Jen were trying to have a conversation and he comes in. We're like, why get out of there. It's not your conversation.
hmm. I don't know. I mean, he's so busy with real estate, yet he has so much time to worry about everyone else's business. So the math ain't
Hmm.
there.
So we could tell just as seasoned reality TV viewers, we could tell that right away production was immediately, episode one, showing us Matt's true colors and trying to get the audience to see that Jen has this special affinity for him, but nobody can figure out why.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do we eventually get to figure out why?
Let me think about that for a second, because I think you just need to go on their Instagrams and see for yourself, really, because it's really there in plain sight. So,
Okay, because nobody understands it. eh,
mhm.
Nobody, and then here's another thing we don't understand. We opened the season with, oh wow, Kenny last year was Realtor of the Year. I'm like,
Mhm.
how was he Realtor of the Year? And in what was the category? Just in that office, or when he is so broke he had to sell his cars,
Mhm.
and his
Mhm.
wife is having to support the family. So how is he Realtor of the Year?
Yeah, that is all inquiring minds actually want to know that same question. I want to know that same question, but at the same time, who am I to question my boss? You know?
Hmm.
So it's one of those things where what numbers are we going based off? What experience? Like, do I have an opportunity to become agent of the year with me being back in Presidio for not very much, not very long? I just don't think that that bar was set very high.
Right. And she's just so protective of him and doesn't want to lose him. But I'm like, just from a business standpoint, it doesn't seem like he's adding much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's not selling the $10 million homes that's getting, eh, it makes no
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, yeah, I really don't know what qualifications you have to have in order to become agent of the year.
Hmm.
But at this point, I really think, I mean, at this point, it could be anyone in the brokerage this year.
Give it to Christian.
Yeah, Christian. I would love for Christian to take that title. Christian has actually been working his butt off, and he's doing incredible right now.
Good.
Christian's personally one of my favorites, so I really
Yeah.
hope you continue to see more of him.
Because, they've tried to make him seem like the wacky sidekick that knows nothing.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
But we've looked him up and I was like, I think he's doing all right.
Yeah, yeah. He is literally flourishing right now. Love
Good.
him. Yeah.
Okay. Now, speaking of Matt, we can't figure out why Matt is so hateful towards Sarah and has such a thing against Tina. And then
Hmm.
also why he takes no accountability for his actions, including with the situation with his wife. His wife coming after you and being like, I was like, the person you need to be mad at is over here.
Yeah, yeah. And funny thing, I don't know if you guys actually caught that as viewers. In my mind and even in my heart, when I had found out, I really did think his wife knew. I feel like,
Mm,
a woman knows things. Like, she feels the energy.
yeah.
She knows things. And I really thought that she knew, or she had heard a whisper or something.
Like
So when
at the
she,
party.
yes, at the party, which is why she left. So when I went to confront Matt, or not even confront him, I went so easy on him. I pulled him aside. I talked to him personally. I didn't give any details to him or anyone else that night. And not only that, I had a few drinks in my system. So I feel like I really tried my best to do it the best way possible given the scenario. I was told on camera. So, and not even that, I didn't know how much was picked up. Kylie wasn't mic'd at the time, so if you could
Mm,
tell, it's kind of choppy. But
mhm.
when I went up to him and I told him, like, I know why your wife left. I really thought she knew, or she had overheard, because it was spreading my party. No
Yeah.
thanks to I was one of the last people to actually find out that night.
Because
So
Kylie told Chris, Sarah's husband.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I'm not sure exactly who she told, other than what I see, on
Yeah.
camera or on the show. But when I went to go tell Matt, like, you need to go home and talk to your wife, because I
Yeah.
really felt like it was not my place to do that. It's not. And you see in this episode, like, she says, I would have done things differently. I would have talked to her privately. Privately where? I did
Right.
that with your
Yeah.
husband, given the circumstances. And
And
I
she
did.
had left the party too.
Yeah, and she had left the
Yeah.
party too. But I had said, like, it's not my news to tell. Will I go tell her husband that he better tell her? 100%. Because if he doesn't tell her, then I will. But it's not
Right.
my responsibility to be the first to tell, to even be in this mess. And so when I tell him he needs to go talk to his wife, I really truly thought that she knew, which is why she left. But then come to find out, she had no idea. So I'm thinking he probably comes home, coming to confess all this. And she's like, wait, what happened at the party? Because she
Hmm.
didn't know. So that was just an interesting thought after I had watched that episode.
But now are we to believe that the reason that they had to downgrade their cars and the wife's job was taking over paying for their home is because he was spending so much money where he shouldn't have been, but she didn't know where the money was going?
Yeah, I mean, strip clubs can get pricey. As far as where their money's going, I have no idea. So I do
Yeah,
know the price of things though, so one can
interesting.
wonder.
Okay, now I have questions about Sarah.
Hmm.
When we first meet Sarah on the show, she was the only one who didn't get a chyron that said sold $4 million in 25 years, 8 years as an agent, whatever. She was the only one.
Really?
Everybody else got it, but she didn't get one. So my
Oh,
question is for you is how long has she been an agent? Like what's the deal?
yeah. She has been an agent, I believe, 6 or 7 years. Don't quote me, but I think it's around that time. So she's been an
Okay.
agent for a while. But before Presidio, she was with her husband doing business. So
Mhm.
that could possibly be why they didn't really mention like her numbers or maybe even the year. But she was working with her husband, and yeah, she's a very great a real estate agent. I mean, she's learning from one of the best. Her husband's a broker himself. So
Mhm.
to be able to have that mentor all these years, yeah, she's great.
So what is the deal with her husband and her marriage? Because we know Matt, alluded to she made jokes about she met her husband on Tinder and got a green card. Did
Mhm.
what was she living in Brazil when she met him? Was he there visiting? Like what's the story?
Yes. So I believe that they met on Tinder.
Mhm.
But you know what? I mean,
A lot of
regardless of
people do. That doesn't
yeah,
matter.
that really is the new age of meeting. She is not the first person that I know that has met their their spouse on a dating website. That's like the new age dating website. I never
Right.
experienced it personally. I've been married for the past almost 15 years.
Yeah, right.
But
Right. Me
I
either.
mean, it works. It's tried and true. And but I mean, for her to go and make that joke about herself, that's for her to say about herself. I feel
Yeah.
like it does not give anyone else a right to repeat that, especially in a way to where you are trying to make it sound believable and basically, trying to allude to something that really isn't what it was. Try to I don't know, downplay their marriage or what they have is not as serious as what it is.
Well, it sounds like he was trying to talk to Chris's ex to stir the pot.
Yeah,
And
especially oh man, especially if you're going to go to dinner with someone's ex and then to ask about them, that is really dirty. Like there's just no need to go there at all whatsoever.
but they've been together. I mean, they have kids and they've been
Mhm.
together for a while. But my question was, did he meet her in Brazil?
Oh, that's a good question that I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm
And you
like,
know what?
yes.
We have to Google if Brazil has Tinder.
Oh, yeah,
Because
everybody
if
does.
they don't, then they definitely met in Utah. Which you
Yeah.
know what? I think she was already in Utah. That's
Okay.
what I because I feel like I
Okay.
might have heard this story before, and I want to say that she was already in Utah. But we'll have to ask Sarah.
Sarah loves a one shoulder shirt.
Yes.
It's so funny because every time we see her, we're like, there's Sarah and another one shoulder shirt.
And I will say she wears the hell out of those shirts.
She's
They look amazing.
gorgeous.
Yes.
She's
I
gorgeous. And I can't believe when Matt went to meet her at that house, he's like, why did I have to come here? I'm not going to apologize to you. I was like, you are such a snake. Ugh.
yeah. Yeah, I know. That was yeah, she handled it the best that she could really, and I mean for yeah, that was very in poor taste.
It
Not
was,
handled well at all, especially given where he's at. And
yeah.
I would just think like I would think life just humbled you a little bit, but maybe not.
Mm-mm. No, no. He
Maybe
takes no
not.
ownership, it seems.
Yeah.
Now, who are your like real friends on the show? Like you're doing the show, but who are like from the show, who are your real friends in real life?
Paige and Sarah and yeah, I love Tina as well.
Yeah. It
Sarah and
seems,
I hang out the most, and
yeah,
Paige and I obviously.
everybody seems cool except Matt. Um, On this week's episode, Nicole, Matt's wife, said that you, Malaysia, had no moral compass.
Mm. I
Not
really feel
cool.
like that was really like the perfect example of being self-righteous but trying to talk shit but still feeling good. It's like when you give a compliment like, "Oh, her hair is not looking good. Bless her soul." You know, one of those like
Well, I'm
you
from the
you you
South, and we
you,
say,
you dig
oh, yeah,
bless her heart or something.
bless
It's
her
like
heart. Yeah.
you give a dig, but everyone knows what you're implying.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just felt like it was very self-righteous of her, and for her to literally like be at the table at the baby shower. She had a lot to say at the baby shower, but then all of a sudden she wants to make it about Kenny and Jess's night. So it was just a little confusing to see that back.
She's made quite a few self-righteous comments like, I wish it wasn't legal for women to sell their bodies, but it is. I'm like, why are we blaming the women here when
Yeah,
it's your husband that is the married person?
yeah, yeah. And then it goes along with my joke. Like we're not
Oh,
going to live
about the
our lives
pole in the
according.
van?
Yes, we're not going to live our lives according to the bubble that your husband now has to live in. Like
Right.
we, you're the one that's sexualizing everything. Why can't
Yeah.
I go on a party bus and have fun on a pole because you're worried about your husband? Like that has nothing to do with me. That was me
It,
distancing myself from the entire situation.
I
And,
thought it was
and
just a group text joke.
it was a
Yeah.
runoff joke from what Tina said. She said, "Oh, I really hope we get a stretch limo." And then me, because I would hope this in general, I've been on plenty of party buses with poles. I ran off that and said, "Well, I really hope it's a party bus with the pole."
Yeah.
So it really was an all good fun. And Nicole wasn't even in that text thread. So
Right. He had to show it to her.
yeah, to like upset her. And then I don't, yeah, it was interesting how that played out. That definitely caught me off left field because I would have never sent that to Nicole because again, my feelings towards the whole entire situation have always been with Nicole and her children in mind because I
Of
have
course.
children and I
Hmm.
know how hurtful and damaging that could be. And so, yeah, I would have never sent that to Nicole.
It's now, okay. Something that I clocked this week that maybe nobody else in the world clocked, but I did.
Ooh, yummy. What is that?
This week on the party bus, you guys get on the party bus to go to the retreat. Taylor Frankie Paul's mom, Leanne from Mom Talk, was on that bus.
Ding, ding, ding. She was.
Everybody
Uh,
remembers her from Mom Talk because she seemed kind of mean to her daughter. And I saw her and I go, is that? And I only watched the whole Mom Talk thing like once. I didn't dwell on it. I wasn't really into them on TikTok or anything. I just
mhm,
watched it as it was. But for
yeah.
me to remember her, I was like,
Mhm.
wait a minute. I went and looked it
Yeah.
up. I was like, that is her.
Yeah. I will say Leanne is a sweetheart. I love Leanne. She has a very, very kind heart. And
Hmm.
I really don't think she's mean spirited at all. And I'm a mother. Are you a mom? Are you a mother?
Yeah, I've got two kids. Yeah.
So I feel like as mothers, sometimes we go in on our children, but not because we don't love them or because we're trying to be a certain way. Sometimes they need the tough love, and I feel
Yeah.
like that's like the snippet that you saw in the relationship, maybe, and especially like one of the first. So in your mind, you think that she's maybe being mean spirited, but I resonate a lot as a mother now that I have a teenager, especially, and sometimes they need to hear the hard truths.
Hmm.
And at this point, like your daughter's a grown woman. I think she can take it. Ultimately, I would think that your mother loves you. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that was my take on that.
I, but I really can't. So she is an agent at Presidio?
Yes, she is, and she's doing amazing. She's been in the industry for a really long time. She has sold a lot of homes under her belt. I'm really hope.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
What
hoping
a
you'll see more.
crossover.
I know. They don't call it Small Lake City for nothing.
So my next question was, are you friendly with any of the Real Housewives or the girls from Mom Talk? We saw Lisa Barlow on, shooting with Sarah and Chris. So are you friendly with all of them as well?
So yes, I have met Whitney Rose. Her husband my husband, we all went to a jazz game. We met at a jazz game, and then we went for drinks afterwards. She's also an incredible, and she really like took me under her belt, and she kind of, is like prepping me for all things reality TV now. It's a whole new world. She's a vet, and I thought it was really like kind of her to just, kind of give me some pep talks and,
Yeah.
help me navigate this whole situation. And then I have met with Brittany as well. So
Mm.
Brittany actually is a new agent at Presidio. So, yep.
No way.
Yes. So you may or may not see her again, or, season 2 if that happens. So we'll see.
Are any of the Mom Talk girls realtors?
No, but Taylor's mom is, and at one of the last meetings, I saw Taylor's boyfriend there. He apparently has his license. I had no idea.
Is it the guy that was on the show or is it a new boyfriend?
The one that's on the show.
Okay.
Hmm.
Mm. He didn't get a good edit either, by the way. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I was going to ask you if you know if yourself or anybody was going to be on Watch What Happens Live soon, but you already answered that we have to wait and see.
Yes, yes, you have to wait and see.
Well, I
I'm
take that
excited.
as a yes. I take that as a yes. Um, so where can people, if they are looking for you on social media or if they are looking to get some real estate there in Salt Lake City area, how can they find you?
So my name is Malaysia Fua. I know it's very complicated, but there aren't very many Malaysias out there. So if you just Google a quick Google search of Malaysia Fua, all of my handles should pop up, and I have a quick response time. So call me.
Okay. Yeah, my producer that I do the podcast with about this show is out there in that area a lot because she skis.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah,
Yes.
she's out there all the time. So whenever I'm like, "What do you think about this house?" She's like, "Well, that's on the east side, but you want to be on the west side or
Yeah.
vice versa." And I'm always like, "I don't know what any of this means."
Oh, I love that you have someone that can give you, the full
She's
entire scoop.
she's try I've
Well, if
I've
you
been
ever
there.
have
I
any questions that she can't answer, call me. I would
We
love to help.
will. We will. Okay, don't hang up, and thank you very much for joining us. And everybody, if you want to hear our coverage of Sold on Salt Lake City, it comes out on Thursday mornings over on Pink Shade Prime. We're loving this show. You guys
Thank you.
get on board, start watching it, and follow Malaysia Kula on Instagram. Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com.